Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In our previous video, we have discussed about nested loops and specifically we have discussed using for loops. So in this video, we will discuss about nested loops using while loop. So whenever we wanted to execute a block of code more number of times, we will mention that block of code inside of a loop. What if we wanted to execute a loop itself more number of times? In such case, we will mention that loop inside of another loop. So in this video, we will discuss how we can mention nested loops using while loop. So let us go ahead and understand how nested loops works using while loop. So let's say we will understand through one example, then we will discuss the syntax. So let's say I wanted to print these values 1, 2, 3, and so on. I wanted to print 10. If you observe carefully here, this is only one value, but each time I am incrementing that number. So how we can write this inside of a loop? Let's say I am having a number. Let's say the number is initial number initial number that I am having is 1. So I wanted to execute. I want this number, right? So because of that reason, I will mention while and I will mention the condition, and the condition is initial initial which is lesser than or equal to 10, because I want the number 1 to 10. So because that reason I am mentioning initial as 1, and in condition I have mentioned the number as 10. Till that number the loop will be iterated. So here I will mention the statement that makes the initial value changed each iteration. So the mentioning is initial plus equal to 1. Each time this value initial value will be incremented by 1. So in middle I will mention a print statement. So in print statement I am mentioning, I will just mention the value that is initial. So if I execute this, I will get the values 1 to 10 like this in a new line, all these numbers. So what if I want those values in single line? I will use this end parameter as a space. So by using this, I can able to get all these values in the single line itself. So instead of printing one after the other, we have used this loop. So by using this loop, we are printing all these 10 numbers. So that is fine. But what if I want these numbers? Let's say I will take these numbers. I want these numbers for 5 number of times. Like this, I want this value 5 number of times. In such case, if you observe carefully, this block, whatever we have written this block itself is repeating 5 number of times. So in such case, we will mention this while loop inside of another while loop. So does that make sense? So let's go ahead and put this while block inside of another while block. So I am taking this code as it is, and I'm pasting here. So here I will mention one more block. So I will take the variable as outer as 1. So I will write the condition here, and condition is outer is lesser than or equal to, I want to print these values 5 number of times. Because of that reason I will mention 5 here. So I will mention all of this while loop and this block inside of this outer while loop block. So now I will mention a statement that changes this outer value on each iteration. So I will mention outer plus equal to 1. If I execute this, I am getting all the numbers in a single line itself. So what if I don't want like this in a single line. I want the values like this. So because of that reason, I will mention a print statement here. So if I mention a print statement, I am getting all these values like what we have expected. So I will do one more thing to make you understand this clearly. So I will mention in this print statement as outer. So if you carefully see here, we are getting the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the end. So if you don't understand this, why this is this code and how I have written this code, I will just explain clearly on each line how and why I have written. So here I am mentioning the outer one. So by mentioning this outer as 1, I will be iterating through how many number of times that I want. So here I am writing a condition as outer less than or equal to 5, which means I wanted to execute this block of code until the value of outer less than or equal to 5. So each time I will be incrementing this outer value on each iteration. So here I have written that code to iterate, increment the value of outer each time. So as and when this condition is true, I will be entering into the outer block. So in this outer block, I have one more variable initial. So by using this initial, I am writing the condition for inner while loop block. So this is the condition that I have written for inner while block. So here in as long as this initial value is less than or equal to 10, we will be entering to this block and we will be executing this block. So as we entered in this block, we will be printing the value of initial by using the end character as a space. So because of that reason, we are getting like this the value of 1 to 10. So here I am incrementing the initial value. So on each iteration, the value of initial will be incremented by 1. So at last, this block is ended, this block condition is failed. I will come out of this loop and I will be printing the outer value. So on each iteration, this value is 1. I will be entering to this block. I will print the values of 1 to 10. And if this values reaches 10, I will come out and print this one value. So, and I will increment the value of outer and I will again check this condition and I will again come inside of this loop and I will execute this block of code until the value reaches to 10. Initial value reaches to 10. Like this, I will be iterating through these loops as long until the outer value reaches to 5. So this is the value that outer value reaches to 5. But here, if I print one statement here as outer, you can carefully observe here outer value at last at the end of the program we have 6. So here the outer value became 6. It checked the condition 6 is not less than or equal to 5. Because of that reason, this this while loop condition failed. Because of that reason, we are coming out of this while loop block. So at last we are printing that value outer. So I hope you have understood inner blocks and nested while loops. So I will explain one more example, which is what we have discussed in our nested for loops also. That is printing a multiplication table. Let us see how we can print multiplication table by using nested whiles. So for that, I am taking the value as outer value, which is of 10. I wanted to print multiplication tables 1 into 1 is equal to 1, and I wanted to print all the multiplication table like this as long as 10 into 10 is equal to 100. Like this, I wanted to print all the multiplication tables. So let us see how we can actually do that. So for that, I am taking outer value as 1. So to mention the condition, I hope to this point you can able to understand why I am mentioning these values. So now I will mention the condition while outer is lesser than or equal to 10. So the 10 why I have mentioned is because I want 10 values. So because of that reason, I have mentioned the value 10 here. So I don't want only 10 values. I want 10 values 10 number of times. One value 1, I want 10 number of times. Value 2, I want 10 number of times. Then only we can print the complete multiplication table till 1 into 1 is equal to 1 to 10 into 10 is equal to 100. So for that reason, I am taking one more value inner is equal to 1, and I will mention the condition as inner less than or equal to 10. By this, on each iteration of these values, we will be executing these many number of values. So for outer value 1, we will be executing the inner value 1 to 10. For outer value 2, we will be executing the inner value 1 to 10. Like this, I will be executing this for these 10 values, this value of 100 times. So like this, like that, we will be executing. So now what I will be doing is that I will be printing the values using f string. So I wanted to print outer outer multiplied with inner is equal to outer multiplication with inner. So I hope you have understood this statement. I hope how we are getting this statement. You have understood it clearly. So this is the f string that what we are using. So instead of mentioning this inside of the string like this, like different way, I have mentioned directly values by using this f string. This outer will be replaced with outer value, this inner replaced with inner value, this outer into inner calculation will be replaced with the actual value. So if you understood this, that is fine. If you don't understood this, you need to check my video about output formatting, how actually we are getting like this. So here I will be incrementing the value inner is with 1, and each iteration I will be incrementing this inner value with 1. If we don't do that, our while loop will be going to infinite loop. Because of that reason I will be mentioning this statement. Now here I will be mentioning that statement, outer statement also incrementing with 1. So by mentioning this on each iteration, I will be incrementing the outer value also. If I execute this, I can able to get the multiplication table. 1 into 1 is equal to 1. Like this, I am getting all the multiplication table. 1, 2, 3, and so on. I can able to get all the multiplication table. At last, I am getting the value as 10 into 10 is equal to 100. Like this, we can use nested loops to do our tasks by whenever we wanted to execute a loop itself more number of times. So I hope you have understood this video clearly, and if you have found any difficulty while understanding this, you can watch the video once again. So in such case, you will be understood this video. If you have any suggestions to me, you can mention that in the comment section. If you find this video interesting and if you understood all the concepts explained in here, hit the like button and subscribe for more this kind of videos. In our next video, we will be solving some of the problems by using for and while loops. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.